electric pickups on an acoustic guitar. This combo was impossible to do properly until now. Let's take a quick listen to some riffs and then we'll talk about what's going on here. Hey guys, Dave here from Guitars Ready Hero, and in this video I'm going to be doing a demo and review of the Cole Clark True Hybrid, which is absolutely one of the most interesting guitars I've had the pleasure of playing recently. Now, as you heard in the demo at the start of this video, this guitar can pretty much do it all, bridging the gap between acoustic and electric guitar in one single instrument. Now, what makes this unique to other hybrid guitars in the current market is that it delivers an uncompromised plugged-in acoustic tone that sounds incredibly natural, as well as uncompromised electric guitar tones that sound just as good as a standalone electric. With dual inputs here, there's an incredible amount of versatility, meaning you can plug into an electric amp and a PA system at the same time. So this here is the HSS model, and it also comes in triple S and double humbucker options. Now, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to find out more. Now, attempts at combining electric guitar pickups with an acoustic guitar are nothing new, but there's always been an issue that players have faced. Now, typically, acoustic guitar strings are phosphor bronze or 80-20 as they provide the best acoustic sound, but unfortunately, these materials don't interact effectively with the magnetic field of electric guitar pickups. On a standard set of acoustic strings, your high E and B are steel, which work fine, but from the G string onwards, the wound materials are non-magnetic. Only the very thin steel core in the center is. So traditionally, this would have resulted in an unbalanced sound where your two high strings were louder than everything else. So this is where the R&D team at Cole Clark, led by Paul Gale, have done some unreal stuff. I've had the pleasure of speaking to Paul a number of times, and believe me, he's like Tony Stark and MacGyver rolled into one. You could give him a handful of paper clips, a broken toaster, and a rubber duck, and somehow he'll probably be able to invent something useful with it. So back to the True Hybrid. In layman's terms, they've developed a method no one else has done to this level of sophistication to be able to magnetize each pole piece on the electric pickup exactly as they need to. So even with a very narrow steel core on the wound strings, you get a balanced, even signal across all 6 strings. If you you want to hear more of the technical side of it, I'll leave a link in the description where Paul himself talks about the magnetization process. The result is a beautiful electric sound together with a beautiful plugged-in acoustic sound, which is powered by Cole Clark's PG3 preamp system, which is what they use on all their actual acoustic guitars. So with this switch here, you can toggle between the acoustic output or the electric output, or for a really immersive wall of sound, you can use both outputs at the same time. The real beauty in all of this is that it's a completely analog solution without the need for any onboard modeling to emulate a certain sound or tone. So with all that in mind, Cole Clark are effectively manufacturing their own electric pickups now for these true hybrids. They're not using off-the-shelf pickups from other companies. So where do I see this guitar being incredibly useful? Well, first off, live performers, of course. Cole Clark is known as having one of the best, if not the best, plugged-in acoustic sound in the world. So couple that with the ability to switch to an electric guitar and you have a very attractive option for the live performer who wants a guitar that can do it all. So no need to lug around multiple cases. If you use amp modeling, then you just need this, your pedal board, and you're all set. And I'll demo my setup for you in a moment. The next type of guitarist that would find this guitar useful are the songwriters and studio players. Now, if you're recording an actual studio track, I think most people would mic an acoustic guitar, but if it's just a demo you're working on, I think having this one guitar track, all your electric and acoustic, makes things so easy. No need to fiddle around with mics, just this guitar into an interface and you can lay everything down right in front of your computer really quickly. And the third type of muso who I think would love the true hybrid are the looper artists. It's already fun enough looping on one instrument, but to be able to lay down any acoustic parts and then overdub electric parts on top is just a world of fun. So as you heard, looping can be a lot of fun with this. I'll talk a little bit more about my looping setup later in the video, but let's move on for now. So now you have an idea for what this guitar can do. Let's quickly compare how the true hybrid compares to the real thing. I'll be comparing it to another HSS electric guitar that I have, and I'll be playing the two side by side with the exact same amp settings on my Vox AC30, so you can hear how it performs as an electric. With the electric out of the way, let's listen to just the PG3 pickup on the True Hybrid by itself. Now the PG3 pickup system is comprised of 3 components: individual piezos under each string for that low end, a phase sensor that provides a natural mid-range, and then a condenser mic which covers the high range. So any of these components by themselves wouldn't sound all that full, but together they make for an incredible sounding acoustic plugged-in sound. So that's the DI'd sound straight into my interface without any EQ or effects. But very surprisingly, this actually has a decent unplugged sound as well. Now, given its thin line narrow body width and lack of the sound hole, it's actually way louder than you'd expect it to be. So much louder than a 335, for example, but obviously not going to be as loud as your regular acoustic guitar. Now, the reason for this is due to the top of the guitar, which is doing something a little bit different. It's not your traditional bracing, but instead they've CNC'd this top out of one piece of wood with this really unique shape. And this unique shape was developed by performing finite element analysis. It's an engineering method for determining where the peak stresses on a material are. So let's take a listen to the guitar unplugged. So very unscientifically, I would say it's about half as loud as your regular acoustic. So definitely loud enough to be played unplugged, but not loud enough to annoy your wife if she's sitting in the same room. So now let's just quickly talk specs on this guitar. The true hybrids are built using a grand auditorium thin line body. So in plan view, just the same as a grand auditorium shape, but a whole lot narrower, which makes it super comfortable on the lap for longer periods of play. The top, back and sides are all Australian Tasmanian blackwood with a she oak fingerboard. It's a full 25.5-inch scale length with 22 frets, and as I noted earlier, it comes in HSS, SSS, and dual humbucker options. As far as strings go, they come with 10 to 47 D'Addario Acoustic XS strings, so they've tried to go on the lighter side to make it more comfortable for lead playing. You can absolutely move up and gauge if you want to, and there won't be any issues with the pickup magnetism. However, if you did want to use electric nickel strings or an acoustic set without a wound G string, that's going to throw things out of whack. So in that case, you'd have to get in touch with Cole Clark to purchase a set of customized pickups. Now, all the guitars at Cole Clark are made in Australia and are plecked as well. So as far as setup goes, the frets and the intonation are superb and the build quality is great. So you might be wondering, does this feel like an acoustic guitar or does it feel like an electric guitar? Now, I'd probably say even with the 10 to 47s, that it feels more like an acoustic guitar at the end of the day. The high E and B strings feel nice and slinky, but the wound G string makes bends still feel a little labored like on an acoustic guitar. So I'd say feel wise, it's probably 70% acoustic, 30% electric. But of course, as far as sound goes, you can achieve 100% acoustic and 100% electric. Now I just want to quickly circle back around on my personal setup with this guitar, which is kind of my ideas and jamming station. But I could also take this to a gig as well and be set with the pedal board and the true hybrid. So what I'm doing here is running two signals. The acoustic output is going through a reverb pedal, just in case I want to add a little ambience to my acoustic. That's then running into this cheap micro mixer I've got here, where I can adjust the level of that acoustic signal. Out of that, we then go into the final part of this chain, which is my looper pedal. Now, the electric output is going through my tuner and into an overdrive if I need a little bit of a boost, and then into my Boss GT1000. So I have basically any electric tone or amp I want at my disposal. That's then going out of the micro mixer and back into the looper to finish. So with this setup, I can record acoustic, electric separately, but I can also mix them as I see fit and then have them all sent out to the PA system without the need for any additional amps or equipment. So that's my setup, but there's so much you can do with this dual output setup, and it'll be different depending on your needs. You can just go out to an electric amp and into the PA system if you wanted. So that's it for the Cole Clark True Hybrid, which is such an interesting and versatile guitar that I think a lot of people are going to love. Now, is this guitar going to replace the sound of a Martin or Taylor acoustically? Absolutely not. But plugged in for the live acoustic performer, Cole Clark can beat pretty much any other acoustic pickup I've used. Is this guitar going to replace an electric for face melting shredding? Maybe not, but you know, if you're good enough, you might be able to pull it off. The main thing is that you at least have that option on the True Hybrid if you need. But of course, the feel of playing an actual electric is very different. And as I noted previously, this feels more like an acoustic guitar in the hands. So if you're very much more of an electric guitar player at heart, it might throw you off a little bit. Now, one thing I did notice when using this guitar is that when you're switching from acoustic to electric and vice versa, you will for a split second activate both outputs at the same time in this middle position. As such, the click sound of the output switch can actually be heard momentarily as it's picked up by the acoustic phase sensor. So if you're looping, I just say avoid flicking the output switch and changing that when recording any loop or overdubs, as that will be fed into your looper. Not an issue really in a live setting, but I just say it could be annoying if you were tracking or looping and that sound of the switch was included in your loop. In general though, I'd say this is very much a guitar for the live performer. If you don't play plugged in at all and you're a bedroom acoustic player, this probably won't be right for you. To truly take advantage of this guitar, you need to plug in, and that requires extra gear, of course. So if you love versatility, love pedals, love looping, amps, and gear, then this is something that could really be up your alley and something that you should try for yourself. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you want to find out more, then be sure to head to the link below, contact your local Cole Clark dealer, and be sure to try one of these out. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.